Willow Nightingale, the newest member of the AEW roster, and we've already made plans for her. This is why should she become the TBS champion. We're going to jump into it right now on WrstlXtra.
Yo, this is WrstlXtra. I'm your boy, A Dazzle, the Black Wrestling Advocate. As always, joined by my tag team partner, Mex, the WrestleManiac, if you will. Willow Nightingale is all elite. It's about damn time. It took long enough. She has been, she debuted in AEW way back in, last year? I think it was early last year. And she's appeared more than 25 times for the company, mainly on Dark. First of all, kind of, doing the whole jobber thing, taking the L's for all the other ladies in the AEW just to make them look decent and better and whatnot. But it's quite clear for those for anyone that knew Willow or knew of Willow, seen her matches before on the Indies before she appeared in AEW, that she has amazing talent. She was performing quite a bit on ROH just before they disbanded. In their women's division, they tried to reignite before it kind of all went to pot. So it was inevitable that someone in AEW was going to see that and think, "Oh, we've got a bit of a star in our hands here." We've talked about it before on this show where we thought, right, lads, what we're waiting for, because you've got this woman who has a great look, great power, very engaging. The fans took to her very, very quickly. And then we saw a progression in how she was used. We saw her more now. She would appear on Dynamite or on Rampage. And then she was in the match to decide the interim ROH Women's interim champion at Final Battle. And this was the first show that, after AEW kind of took over ROH and all that kind of stuff. So we thought, they're doing something with this woman now. They've given her an opportunity for a belt. Oh, but then for a further 3 or 4 months, she's just been kind of coasting. Yes, but still, on the live shows and stuff like that. But then also getting opportunities at Jade's TBS Championship. We knew what was going to happen in those matches. Jade's on this mad run. But actually, I remember Mex getting excited, thinking, the possibility of Willow beating Jade Cargill. She's now all elite. She's had 2 tries at Jade, lost both. But she can't seem to get rid of Jade and the baddies. With Chris Statlander not being about, with Athena already been beaten, with no one else looking, well, we've got Nyla Rose, of course, taking, confiscating the belt physically. We only have, I guess, if there was no Nyla, we only have Willow as the possible, realistic female to defeat Jade. Mex, I know you've been itching to speak on this whole thing. Let's go. What do you think? What do you think the future holds, both in the near, maybe even in the further future, for Willow Nightingale in AEW?
Firstly, like you said, it's about damn time. It's been looking closer in recent weeks that they're definitely in cahoots somewhat. But to get it all official, put the fans at ease, and people, it's not at ease in the sense that we're only invested in someone that we're enjoying. It's just that people don't want to see that there's still a whole nother company that could scoop her up until you sign her. You see what I mean? And I specifically wanted her to sign for AEW because I just feel for the balance of characters that you have there, she is a brilliant babyface.
Right. Perfect.
Planned or unplanned, like her energy is unmatched. You can't help but when she runs out, you're smiling with her. Why? I'm here miles away in a different country. Like I don't know you. Like you don't know me. I think you've energized me by just coming out. You see what I mean? So like they don't necessarily have that. Who's their baby faces over there right now? You've got Saraya that's obviously just joined, but she's very much on a bit of a tough girl act right now, even though she's on that face side of the spectrum. Toni Storm is champion, pretty much the same tough girl act, but not really a face. Like Willow is just that person that you just want to win because she just looks like a bloody lovely lady.
Right.
Like, and she gives me very much like Bailey NXT vibes. Like how just Bailey, people just couldn't get enough of Bailey. Like everyone loved Bailey those times. And it's for that reason I thought the AEW roster could definitely do with her. Now they've got her, they've penned her down. She is all elite. It's now, what's next? And you're looking at the scope of things. Jade's title reign has it's begun to get stale, but this Nyla Rose stuff is brilliant because Nyla Rose is brilliant.
Right.
And Nyla needs to be on TV way more than she currently gets.
Right.
Obviously, this has brought her back to kind of prominence somewhat. So it's good that it's taken this kind of turn. But I guess Nyla's, again, dynamic-wise, is a heel. So she can't necessarily, they won't necessarily do a trade on a heel-for-heel match. They'll have a title match and Jade will probably overcome. Statlander, like we said time and time again, should have been that person to beat Jade. I feel like there's obviously still a lot left in her, but she's injured right now. So we're not, again, it's kind of like her career's been pushed back a bit, AEW career anyway. Willow just seems to be the person to beat the big bad wolf that is Jade Cargill. I think Jade's on what now? 40 wins? Is up to 40? Or?
If she wins this one, it's 40, I believe. If she wins this one,
40. So it's like, guys, where are we going with this? Are we ramping it up to 50? Is she gonna reach 50? Is she just gonna lose it on a random, show somewhere in between? So it's like a bit like a shock. I don't see any other better candidates than having Willow win the title. I'm just seeing Gareth's comment. Big up Gareth. We've been going back and forward about this on Twitter for ages. So people have also suggested that Willow win the ROH title. I'd like this. I don't know why she didn't win it in the first place against Mercedes Martinez.
Now that's a question I was going to ask you as well. Like, so we know that Willow's all elite, and we've seen that there have been a few people who have signed with ROH, but not necessarily AEW.
Yeah.
Was it the right move to make her all elite, or should she have been exclusively ROH?
I think all elite was the right move.
Okay.
Because I feel like they featured her enough and the crowd reception says it all.
Yeah.
Like if it was a thing where it's like for instance, if ROH was around when, let's say, the Acclaimed came through and they could just kind of almost dump them there, let them work on their gimmick and all of that kind of stuff, and then eventually bring them to the big time, so to speak. But with Willow, they've been putting her out there, whether it be Dark or Rampage and Dynamites here and there, and the crowd reception is telling, and she can work.
Of course,
like it's not all just character and likability. She can actually work very well. So I think she's in the right place now. They have 2 championships there.
That's true.
So I think as well, Jade needs to move on. Like it almost feels so early in her career to start saying she drops this and then she has to go for the world title. Like, she's hardly been wrestling for what, 2.5 years or whatever. But it's the natural progression because of how they've dealt with her character. But yeah, Willow just coming in right now, and obviously she can get a few wins around the block with a few other talents. But yeah, in terms of just someone that's going to overcome Jade's run, and they've done it pretty well where Willow's, she's lost a couple of times. So it's almost like, I can't beat her. It's like she has to overcome this mountain. it really just feels like the right thing to do.
I think for me, the issue in asking the question I asked already about her either being AEW or ROH, the issue has obviously been this lack of attention or focus on ROH, kind of having its own show, having its own, storylines. Yes, we've seen certain storylines unfold on AEW TV, but again, it's just not the same. It's just about the title matches, and that's the end of it. It would have been nice for her to progress in ROH. But at the same time, this is the thing. She has the possibility of being ROH Women's Champion because Mercedes Martinez has been injured, and there's nothing going on with that right now, and all that kind of stuff. It would be a very nice title for her to hold. It's not the most prestigious out of the three that are about, but at the same time, it would help her to bring prestige to the championship and to herself all at the same time. Mm-hmm. But there is still the possibility as well, a very strong one, of her becoming TBS champion. It does a very similar thing, but slightly above. You know what I mean? It's slightly above. And for her to be the person to give Jade her first loss, that would be major. That
might be worth its weight more than actually winning the title.
Very true. Very true. Very true. And the fact that she's lost to Jade twice isn't a big thing, because especially the first time, it was kind of like it was a no-brainer she was going to lose. Like, she was still relatively an unknown in AEW, even though we've seen her about and whatnot. She hadn't been, put out there and all the rest of it. The second time, she had more notoriety, but it was kind of done in a out of nowhere type of way. So it didn't feel as if it was a big thing again. Whereas if it were to happen a third time, now that she's signed, I'd be like, right, we can't have her lose a third time. So they need to do it in a way where, if they're going to go down this route, they need to do it in a way where it has to be built. It has to be done properly. There needs to be some type of real storyline between the two of them before they have any type of match. And if Willow wins, the smiles, you're talking about the smiles on faces and whatnot, bro, the smiles on faces would be ridiculous in that crowd on that night if she wins and beats Jade. It's crazy. We're seeing this whole thing with Nyla going on. And it's great TV. It's great entertainment. As you said, Nyla is absolutely amazing. She'll be on TV every week, regardless of who she's feuding with and whatever else is going on. But I do feel it is just another person for Jade to beat. After that, there literally is no one else left, because the unfortunate part with this TBS title is that there have been no other women that have been built to beat Jade or to feel as though they're contenders. Everyone else has kind of been in the AEW Women's World Championship scene. Your Serena Deeb, even down to Ruby Soho when she was about, and and a few others. No one else makes any sense. It's a big problem, but at the same time, it's a nice problem for Willow. Yeah, because she's then the only one. If not the TBS Championship, if not the ROH Championship, what else could Willow possibly do until she reaches that kind of, title picture? Is there anything for her to do, or is it a thing where it's the only thing that can be done for her to, to elevate Willow?
I mean, I think you need to maybe not necessarily strike. So this is even where my confusion within myself is when I'm saying, that I really want to see Willow win. It's like, I don't want to see her necessarily win it tomorrow. Like, it may wait all the way till Full Gear. I say all the way. I think that's only like 3-4 weeks away. But like, yeah, I just want it to be her wherever it's going to happen. But in between, this is where AEW is good. So I talked about maybe the lack of diversity within characters in that women's roster. You have like a lot of kind of, like the mid-card heel types, like
Penelope Ford,
who just got injured, and people that what's her face? Not Ali, but Bunny. Yeah, Bunny. Like all of these kind of people that she can have matches with. I think she could tangle with some of the upper echelons of those people, like Jamie Hayter and all of those kind of people. Yeah, she just needs wins, I guess, because you know, even from where we're thinking how will Jade continue, some people are gonna have to still be sold on Willow. Like, what makes her stand in front of Jade, someone that's on a 40, 42, might be 45 by then, or 50 wins by then streak, and now just beat Jade. You see what I mean? So they're gonna have to do some work, even if it's just matches to kind of get her over. And maybe they do more in terms of investing in her character. I think she's had a couple of backstage promos in regards to like tag team action and stuff in the past. Just give her the mic a bit more. Just let people are going to buy into her. If they haven't already, people are definitely going to buy into Willow. So it's just a case of giving her the opportunity to do so. And then, by then it'll be able to be telling, right, is she going to be pushed as the TBS champion or someone that's credible for Jade, or do we have bigger plans for her in the interim, at least to challenge for a world title, even if she's not going to win it? You see what I mean? It's all still requires some building up and stuff. So the division is on an up. I can't lie. Saraya arrived, and even when I said I don't believe Saraya would arrive to this division without thinking, right, I need some guarantees here. I need to write this myself. I need to have some type of control or say. And it seems like, even in recent weeks, the women are getting more time and all of this kind of stuff. There's a change happening. So long may it continue.
Yeah, for sure. We talk about Willow being likable. We also know she can go in the ring, and she's kind of got this total package. But yet it's a total package that no one else has. So there are others who have the total package or a great balance in their skill set, whether it be on the mic, great in the ring, and all that kind of stuff. But hers is just completely different. She doesn't look like anyone else. She doesn't go like anyone else. Like you said a number of times, her character is very different to everyone else. So it feels as though it's a bit of a no-brainer that she should be pushed, not straight away, not quickly, but should be pushed. There should be some type of plan for this woman, and not just, right, we'll sign her because she's been with us long enough and people know who she is, so we'll sign her. There needs to be, right, we've signed her, we need to have a plan for this woman. But we've said that so many times about wrestlers when they sign with AEW. So there's this fear that it could be the same old. They get signed, maybe have a good few weeks or something, and then end up coasting again.
I mean, the only thing I would say to that is, like we were saying before, like we could pretty much tell that she was already in cahoots with the whole AEW Ring of Honor stuff. If maybe her AEW appearances that she has had didn't go to plan, she probably would have been a safe bet for Ring of Honor, and just just let her cook on Ring of Honor and do her thing. So exactly like you're saying, the fact that they have chosen to make her all elite, and not just leave her on the Ring of Honor side of things, would make one feel like, okay, there is something here, that, or at least they see her being more than that level currently.
Right.
So yeah, hopefully that she can be, there is a plan. And I don't know what they're planning to do with Jade. I think what they're planning to do with Jade is probably the bigger conundrum. That's and true. Then everything in it else will just kind of fall into place. Where is she going to make it to 50 wins? Is she going to surpass 50 wins? And then I think I saw Gareth mention somewhere Jade and the Ring of Honor title. And immediately when I read that, I thought, that's a step down. But at the same time, they are obviously planning to, it sounds imminently at this point, launch this streaming service. And Jade has been practically, I would go as far as say, the face of AEW in the last few months. Like, she's doing all the she's one of the most popular people along with the Jerichos and stuff, but she's been doing all the stuff out there in front of the press. So Jade necessarily carrying that Ring of Honor women's title and doing all the stuff on HBO or wherever it's going to be, it could be big business because Jade looks like a star. So it could work out, even though title-wise, it's a step down, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could you argue that the ROH Women's Championship is above the TBS? Because I mean, okay, so ROH Women's Division isn't the same as ROH in general.
Yeah.
But as you said, with the way that they would use Jade or possibly use Jade if she held the ROH Women's Championship, are we saying that it's a step up? Because it's the world championship of another promotion, whereas
It's not.
yes, it isn't supposed to be, but it's the mid card compared to obviously.
Yeah. For me, it's not a step up because it's not even on TV.
Okay.
So it's a world title,
Yep.
but it's not even on TV. But I think Jade, through everyone being so invested with her now, people will follow her over there. Yep. And then if they do the same kind of exposure that they're doing for her, just as TBS champion now, but as a Ring of Honor world champion, so obviously those outside of our wrestling space, they're just gonna see, oh, she's the world champion of some wrestling thing, and that's enough for them. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, last but not least, I think Jade still needs matches. She's still learning. She still needs matches. She can go there and face anyone, all these people from Dark that they call in. Like, she can just go there and just have matches, be a dominant champion. If it's a 1 hour show, Jade can have the women's match every single week. Like, so I think she needs that. And that might be a good option for business because, again, if you're thinking of Chris Jericho is the men's world champion over there, the women's is currently Mercedes Martinez. Do people know her? I don't know if the woman is meant to be the draw as well, but Jade is definitely a better option than Mercedes Martinez.
Gareth said it well. Jade will make it feel like a step up, and I think
I agree.
A title, just a simple wording that she can say she's a world champion would be enough. I mean, she has gone on record. I think it was about a month ago. She was asked in an interview about her stepping up towards the AEW Women's Championship, and even she said it would be too early for her to do that. She's only just started out, and her focus is on making the TBS Championship, bigger than it probably was expected or was supposed to be.
She's done that.
Seriously, already done that, of course.
Yeah.
And as much as we're saying it's probably gone a little bit stale, there is this now. There's no obvious higher title right now, whereas at one point it was all day long the TBS Championship.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's kind of a bit of a balance, and that's mainly because the women's division just is again coasting, and has been for a while. So I think any type of change for Jade would be a good one, regardless of what it is, whether it be the women's championship, whether it be the ROH Women's Championship. Any type of change would help Jade. To kind of rekindle some type of fire. She's burning out just a little bit. This Nyla Rose thing is helping, definitely. Yeah. But in terms of the title itself and to move forward, I mean, because if she beats Nyla, then what? I mean, we go straight back to, the coasting, the stale, whatever it is. So, any type of change would be great for her. But to see Willow kind of in the mix is a very good one in an official sense now, not just this good indie wrestler who shows up quite often.
Exactly.
Now it's official. So I'm hoping there's a plan, and we see something soon enough, or at least the working of something. Again, when I say see something, it doesn't have to be a title shot, and it doesn't have to be going after Jade straight away, but just some type of serious progression. Her getting wins over good opponents would be enough for me. To say, right, we're on the right track.
Just to pick up on these comments here. So Ibrahim says for Jade to start feuding with Willow, she first needs to get over Nyla Rose, which we were saying. I mean, if a surprise Nyla Rose win comes out of this, I don't mind, because I'm actually quite enjoying this Nyla Rose resurgence on TV. So yeah, I would love Willow to be the person. The only reason I would say more Willow than Nyla Rose is because of the face and heel dynamic. I think is probably obviously more clear to see there, whereas Nyla and Jade are both heels. But Yeah, it's been great. And Matthew Forbes says Chris Statlander should be the one to beat Jade, which is what we both said probably some months ago. Like we were I think we were ranking them. We said Chris Statlander first and Willow second, didn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, Chris Statlander's unfortunately injured. So yeah.
How long is Statlander injured for? Does anyone know?
No idea. I don't know.
Still a long time. I think it is like a long time, and that's why
I think because she went off because she had surgery before for her knee, and I think she's re-aggravated the knee.
The same one. Okay. That's not overnight type thing.
Yeah. So we'll see.
It's gonna be a while. Okay. So we're talking about things new and things changing. We've seen a big change in NXT. We had Halloween Havoc on Saturday. The show kicked off with the 5-man ladder match for the vacant NXT North American Championship. We saw Oro Mensah, Von Wagner, Nathan Fraser, Wesley, and former 2-time champion Carmelo Hayes in the match. And at the end of the match, sorry for anyone that hasn't watched it yet. I don't know why you haven't. Spoilers. Wesley is now the new North American champion. Mex, how do you see this in terms of 1, the match, and 2, the decision?
The match was fantastic. The match was just missing the typical takeover crowd in Brooklyn. That's all that match missed.
Yes.
But yeah, that it was the highlight of the pay-per-view. The rest was a bit downhill from there.
Yeah, it was.
I knew Carmelo Hayes wasn't going to win, and I was just doing process of elimination. When I saw Von Wagner chuck Wesley, I said, "Oi, put the title on this guy." I was sold. I'm not even a Von Wagner fan, but I said that is sick.
Trust me.
I thought, Nathan Fraser, I probably thought it was a bit too early. I've done process of elimination before the match, and I've got a thing when it's title matches, when they're making their entrance, I like to watch their face. Because what I started noticing maybe a couple of years ago is that champions always have what I call lose face.
Okay.
Like when they're making their entrance and they're losing, they're dropping the title that night. They look a bit serious. They look a bit peed off. I was just watching everyone's face, and Wesley looked when he made his entrance like he was trying to contain a smile. I might be overthinking this, but I said, okay, maybe it's Wesley's night. Great performance by all the men involved. Like apart from Von Wagner nearly killing that fan with the ladder.
But that fan needed to sit down and keep still, though, to be fair.
They're doing a lot.
Blah, blah, blah. No, sit down.
The fan was doing a lot still. It was just absolutely brilliant. Nathan Fraser was just obviously put in there as the highlight wheel, just brilliant moves. Trick Williams just plays his part fantastically every single time. And Rob Stone, of course, for Von Wagner. Carmelo was brilliant. Wes was really, really good throughout the match. And you know what? I think for the year he's had, the breakup of MSK, genuinely telling this story on TV of what's next for me. I've never been a singles guy. I don't know how to do this singles thing. Looking at one point that who did we think they were going to pair him with at one point? Or we were suggesting, I think him and Nathan Fraser would be a good partnership. But no, they've definitely put the title on someone that I think is very deserving, can continue almost the legacy they've set up since they've introduced this title. And for whatever reason, it's become very popular amongst their black wrestlers. Wesley can just continue that and put on some really good matches more than anything, I think definitely where NXT looks like it's again pivoting in this direction of less so the developmental level people, and it's more like bringing in more indie stars to cultivate all of the talent. He's definitely a good person to lead the next charge. Let those Carmelos and them man are ready for TV. Let them move up and do their thing. And then the rest of them, I think Von Wagner, I think they said he was on main event last night or so. So maybe they've got plans to move him up as just maybe a big, solid, big guy or something like that sooner rather than later. Nathan Fraser could probably do some more time just for character work. It's good. I'm happy for Wesley still.
Yeah. You mentioned the popularity of the North American Championship. with the black wrestlers. I mean, we might as well rename it the NXT African American Championship.
At this point, yeah,
we might as well be. I mean, who we had? So Wesley, Carmelo, Velveteen,
Ricochet,
who else is
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee.
Did
Swerve have it at one point?
Swerve, yeah.
Leon Ruff.
Yeah.
Literally is African American Championship.
Yeah.
But moving on to like the rest of what happens with the rest of these guys. So now we've got Aro Mensah as well in NXT coming in from NXT UK. He's just like I think he's just gone in there and just fitted in absolutely perfectly. It's obviously a testament to his skill set and all the rest of it. And him in that match, I almost thought when I first saw him in the match, I thought, is this going to be a bit too early for him to get this kind of, you know what I mean? But nah, he's like, I belong here, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's great to see. Very great to see. The other question though is, we mentioned how Carmelo's ready for TV. We saw in the week as well, I think it was the day before Halloween Havoc, Shawn Michaels did the media call about Halloween Havoc, and he was asked very specifically about Carmelo Hayes, and he said Carmelo's ready when they, ready for the main roster when they want him. He appeared on main event as well the week before that. Do you think this is the last time we have seen Carmelo at NXT, or does he now need to move to the NXT Championship with Bron Breakker again, still holding this championship? I think
just on Bron Breakker, I'm very happy the crowd voiced their opinion when he retained.
Yep.
Because it's you know what, when it comes to performance wise, he's good. I think he is very good, but good. It's just boring now in terms of his characters. No change, no struggle. He's just out here literally annihilating guys like, Goldberg used to. Like, so it's, they need to do something with him, give him some struggle or something. I don't know. But Carmelo Hayes, I don't think there's much in him to go after the NXT Championship, only because it was more interesting when he was North American champion, calling that the A champion. I really believed it. It was like it was the most important title on that show. So getting the NXT championship, I don't really see what more, because more than anything, NXT is for development.
Yep.
Where can we develop him further here? And okay, it could be like for in terms of like a holding pattern, just to keep him here because there's no space on the main roster. Okay, he can challenge him, or he can do the honors and put over some other talents that they want to start working on before they bring him up or something like that. But I really don't see, to the point now that I'm thinking about it, I'll be disappointed if they make him NXT champion and he's hanging around in NXT for another couple of months or half a year. I think I'd be disappointed. Like, don't miss the boat on this. You see what I mean? Like, he's done his time almost.
Yeah, I completely agree, because as you said, it's kind of like this thing where, yes, the NXT Championship on paper is a step up, but it's like, how do we get there with Carmelo? How do we keep him there? Why do we keep him there?
Yeah.
When, for me, he's that type of wrestler where I've always been very big. I think when we had Alexander Ruff on the show, on the last show, he was saying this very similar thing where I know growing up watching wrestling, I would have loved to be the king of the mid card. And for me, I think that's what Carmelo should be. And that's not to put a ceiling on him. But for me, it's that, and especially having Shawn Michaels as like his mentor and got his back and all the rest of it. I think they should be doing a thing where they make him the king of the mid card for as long as possible, and then move him up to a world championship maybe. And this is on the main roster, not in NXT. He's done his thing in NXT, as you said. The A champion thing was perfect, and I think he needs to do a very similar thing now And I think he could do it very easily. Do a very similar thing now with either the US or the Intercontinental Championship on the main roster.
I think the US title suits him to a T.
Yeah, all day long. Or imagine him beating Seth Rollins. Anyway, I'm getting. That would be crazy. That would. But maybe not that quickly, maybe not that early. Maybe if Seth holds it for quite a long time, I'd think, that's a possibility. But yeah, I think for me, that's what he needs to do. Go now to the main roster and pursue whatever mid-card it is, hopefully the US, because it just, as you said, it just fits him in a very different way to the Intercontinental Championship and be, the greatest United States champion that ever was for as long as possible. And then we make the move to the World Championship. The NXT Championship for me just isn't cooking. And it would almost feel like a step down, to be honest.
Yeah,
it would almost feel like a step down. And I think that's mainly because they've kept it on Braun Breaker for way too long now. And for him to beat Dragunov and McDonough is how?
The crowd are tired, and the crowd, like I said, the crowd are voicing their opinion. So I think that's fine. The thing is, it's probably more so where they want to bring in Braun Breaker when he gets to the main roster. And if it's like, well, let Roman drop these titles first, and then we're going to separate the titles and have one here and have one there, and then bring in Braun Breaker in that kind of scene, then fair enough, innit? Then, but he has to still, they will past NXT champions, Finn Balor and all of these people, they dropped the title and still done work in NXT until it was time for them to move up. And it was telling after the weekend that the crowd are done with Braun Breaker now. The crowd are done. If you didn't think so before, I can't remember the last title match he had before this one, but I think it was not McDonough. There was one in between.
Tyler Bate,
and the crowd booed him after Tyler Bate as well.
Did they?
Yeah,
I didn't notice that. Okay,
the crowd booed him there, but it wasn't as loud as Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, because I was a little disappointed by that as well, because it just felt as though it was just NXT over NXT UK and not kind of trying to still keep some prestige for NXT UK, as much as we've got the Yes Boys as the tag team champions. I really wanted Tyler Bate to win. I really wanted Tyler Bate to win. For Braun Breaker to then, whether he went to the main roster or chased the title for a little bit longer, fine, no problem, or had some other feuds and stayed in NXT, fine, no problem. He's not, as we said, he's good, but this reign is now boring, very boring. And for him to overcome the returning Dragunov, I'm baffled. Totally baffled.
I think it's just one of those things where when they started this 2.0 stuff, like everyone had a lot to say, obviously, about it. But Braun was a standout. He was deserving of, he belongs to have this opportunity and push on and stuff like that. It's 2.0 is it's over a year old now. He was practically given the title on day one. So we just need to see something different. Even in his defenses, his mannerisms, he's literally killing guys like Goldberg was. So it's not even like somewhat competitive or struggle or nothing. I don't want Hayes to go after that title, really. I don't see the point. Gareth says here, Hayes winning at Mania would be a great way to put your stamp on him for the future. Yeah, a little US title win could be nice. 100%. So yeah, there's a lot of upside. I think people are beginning to see, especially more importantly, the higher management are beginning to see, Carmelo Hayes that's someone definitely for the future. So hopefully with the new regime, he's going to be well looked after, well cultivated, and everything will fall into place.
And I think for me, that's what I'm very confident of. Regardless of how he moves up, how quickly it is, how slow it is, I believe that Triple H and Shawn Michaels have a massive amount of faith in this guy, and they'll do whatever it is to kind of protect him and what in whatever way it happens and whatever way his career goes. They're like, right, this guy's gonna be a star when we're ready.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Or when we're ready to fit him in whatever way, because we got to think, you know, it's not only Carmelo Hayes that's there, that's got great potential. You know, there's other people that are already in good spaces and good spots on the card as well. So it's still you know, a case of fitting him in properly, and that can't just throw him in you know, in a great spot straight away.
Yeah.
Wouldn't work.
We have to remember it was that regime that brought him into NXT. The Regals, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, they brought him in. They made him the what is it, the breakout champion or breakout winner of that tournament. Obviously, everything at NXT changed. He survived the change. Because obviously the new regime can see, okay, like even though we're changing things up here, this guy's still a star.
Gone, bro.
Yeah. And then obviously the change has happened back now, minus Regal. So he's in the hands of the people that believed him in the first place. So.
Right. That's very, very encouraging indeed. So moving up to the main roster, we see we've seen this weekly for about a month or two, this weekly thing with Omos, where he's taking on local competitors. Two small dudes, probably both smaller than me. And, you know, it's kind of like, okay, what are we doing with this guy? What's going on? But in the last week or so, we've seen the return of Braun Strowman, the big bad Braun Strowman. And I think we always, even when Strowman was still there and Omos kind of came onto the main roster, we always wanted to see them two go at it, and we're getting that now. Are you excited by this? Is it too early? Is it about time?
I would say the Omos and Braun standoff against each other they had on SmackDown last week was pretty impressive. Like I didn't know Omos was that tall next to Braun. I know they say it every day. He's a giant. They say he's 7 foot. It still didn't register how tall, because all of these guys are big. You see what I mean? But yeah, he was a whole head like over Braun. Then he obviously done some funny stance, which I don't know what that was about, and then he pushed Braun out the ring. And I thought, oh, okay, nice, all right. This is probably the greatest thing you've done in a long, long time. And then, of course, we know we're having the match in Saudi, a crown jewel between these two, which I don't know if I'm looking forward to. It's not my kind of thing. I understand the spectacle, two massive guys and etc. But for either one of them, Braun wins this, Omos wins this, where do they go? Where does the winner go? Where does the loser go? Like, are you just signing these people as like a typical Vince thing of like, I want heads to turn as you walk through airports, have these big men, and like, are they just there for the spectacle? Because I don't think the crowd has any interest in them apart from the size factor. Wrestling ability, okay, Braun is better than Omos, but I don't know. And it just makes me think, like, what's his face? I was going to say Prince Nazim. Don't know where that came from. What's his name? Dabakato or Commander Aziz? That's the guy.
Oh, Commander Aziz.
That's the one. I had to run through all of the, you know, the racial gimmicks. Commander Aziz, that's the guy. He's been sent back to NXT now. That's official.
Okay.
So they want to do some more work on him, I guess, before he re-debuts or whatever the case is. Veer got sent back, and we see him on NXT now.
I like that move, to be honest. Very,
I like what they're doing with him. It's not just, you know, tribal beasts from India. Like, he seems to have a gimmick, and he's getting Sangha. Is it Sangha on board with him as well? So I want Omos to go back. Like, I'm not necessarily not invested in Omos 100%, but I have very little investment, because it's just like, how many times are they just going to wheel out jobbers for you to just beat and stand on their chest and pin 1, 2, 3 and scream? And bro, go and learn how to work and then come back with something, you know, tangible. Like, the big man stuff isn't my style of wrestling, but it's got legs if the guy has something behind it. You see what I mean?
It's a difficult one. I feel as though him moving back to NXT just wouldn't work for me. I just don't know how he would fit into NXT. Him being on the main roster is fine, but it's still a case of what do you do with him after he has
sorry, let me interrupt. When I say move back to NXT, I don't necessarily need him on TV in NXT because because like you're saying, I don't know where he fits in. I just mean back to the training facility. The performance center.
Take you off TV altogether.
Yeah, and then when they're ready, they can bring him straight back to Raw if they want. But
wow.
I just need him to go and yeah.
Train. Wow. No, for me, I think he's fine where he is, but it's just like, but at the same time, it is this whole thing of what do we do with him? He had that whole thing with Bobby Lashley. For the first few weeks, it was like, oh my gosh, these two. Then they had their match, and it was like, oh, these two. You know what I mean? He's then done nothing afterwards, and just done either not been on TV or local competitors, and for no reason. It feels as though that's what's going to happen again with Braun Strowman. I think for me the solution to this would be to have almost like a part-timer. Don't be trying to put him on TV every week. There's no point. Either do it in a way where he comes out when someone's maybe on a roll or on some kind of streak in terms of wins or whatever else, and they give it the big I am or whatever the case may be, and then almost comes out, oh, I've got to beat this guy. I think that's the only way his style, the character, all of that works. And to be, especially the 7-foot big man. There have never been any great 7-foot big men. Yeah. You can think of all of them and you're like, oh, that guy again. Oh, Giant Gonzalez. Oh, Great Khali. Oh, you know what I mean? Satnam Singh. Anyway. But at the same time, the one thing for me that maybe entices me a little or a little intrigued by this match specifically is the simple fact that both of them can go. They're a lot faster than most big men have been in the past. They're a lot more agile, a lot faster, but they've both still got the power. So I'm still intrigued to see what they do. It's not so much because I remember being excited when it was Mark Henry versus the Big Show. That was exciting, but this kind of feels though it could be, but they've not been built up enough for it to really get to that level. But there's a possibility of it. But I don't know. See what happens. Again, it's for me more than anything. It's the question you asked: what happens to either of them afterwards? Yeah. Whoever wins, whoever loses, what then? You know what I mean? I think for Omos, it should be either he goes down this part-time thing, or he does the part-time thing, but then MVP needs another 2 or 3 guys, and Omos is just the heavy.
Yes.
So then every now and again, he has a match, but we're not really fussed. We don't have to be fussed. We don't feel the need to be fussed because he's part of a faction.
Make him Jake Hager. To Jake Hager's Chris Jericho and all of Chris Jericho's factions. He's just there. Right. And gets involved in brawls. Once every 4 months, he has a match.
Right.
Can win or lose or whatever the case is. He's menacing the rest of the time. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That's probably it.
I think that would be the perfect way for it to go. His career for it to have any type of longevity as well. Because I'm feeling as though almost at the moment is a little bit forced. In the sense where it's almost like they're trying to find something for him to do. And as soon as this is done, they'll have nothing to do.
Yeah. You know, well, I remember we said for weeks after Triple H took charge, I don't think he was on TV for about 4 weeks after that. Then he brought him back to TV for 1 week. Then I think he was off TV for another 4 weeks. So they are kind of hinging him in places just to kind of get him involved.
Yeah.
Braun has more to him, or at least when Braun came in, obviously off the back of the Wyatt family stuff, he found himself tangling with what do you call it, with Roman Reigns, and him and Roman Reigns' whole thing was good, and maybe he just hasn't found his person in regards to that, or just any other kind of story. I don't know, but somewhere like either keeping him as a special attraction or just making him a heavy as part of a faction would definitely help.
Sticking with the crown jewel thing, we're now seeing, it's official. The brawls have been going on. We know it's happening. It's going to be Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar 2. This, for me, I'm excited by it now more so because of the brawl that they had and the beatdown that Lashley gave to Brock. Again, it's a case of, right, who's going to win? How's it going to go? What happens to the person who loses? Is Brock even going to lose? I doubt it. So then what happens to Bobby Lashley? But I'm seeing they're playing vignettes of Lashley as well. So it's like, what are we doing? I'm kind of like just confused as to where it's going to go for Lashley specifically. Any idea?
I think Brock gets his win back because obviously Lashley has a tainted win, but a win over Brock Lesnar from was it Royal Rumble this year?
Royal Rumble,
So yeah, I think Brock gets his win back. The only thing I'm hoping for is a real competitive match. Like no shenanigans, no one runs in, like no dodgy finishes. Like just let these men beat themselves up for 5-10 minutes. And then if Brock is gonna go over, which I assume he is to get his win back, then that happens. And then I don't know, somewhere down the line, you can give them one more match between the two of them or something like that. Maybe at Royal Rumble, that would be cool. I
think WrestleMania would be a good one.
Oh, WrestleMania would be the best option, especially because I don't know what other what they're gonna do other than that. I guess Roman is already occupied and can't fight Brock anymore since SummerSlam. So yeah, maybe WrestleMania is where they do the blow off, which I'm okay with. So yeah, that would definitely lead to Brock winning. But I think more than anything, again, I'm putting my faith in this new regime. It's just have a competitive match. We don't need none of the nonsense that saw, how the last match end. I still can't believe Roman got involved, looked at the WWE Championship, laughed, and threw it to the ground. Like, that's your whole company. That's your company's legacy title. Man just dashed it on the ground. I find it so disrespectful. So yeah, that could be a good place. Like Gareth says here in the chat, WrestleMania with Bobby beating Lesnar clean is ideal. Yeah, that would be a good way to tie things up and send Lesnar off into the sunset, if you like.
Yeah, of course. And then obviously project Bobby back towards, a real contender for the World Championship and at whatever state it's in by then. I don't know whether we'll still have just the one or, we'll end up having one or the two will split again in some way. We're seeing little things of this whole people switching brands and stuff. We've seen Baron Corbin go to SmackDown or to Raw, sorry, and Rey Mysterio go to SmackDown, and we've kind of seen that in an official way. Are we going to get a full draft, or do you think it's going to work this way, where it's kind of just a little bit more subtle?
I think when Triple H came in, what was mentioned was a draft. At first, they were saying the draft was imminent because he just wanted to shake things up. And I think the last thing I read about it was that the draft is going to happen post-Mania. Which I've always said this is where the draft should happen. I think Raw after Mania should be just used almost like a showcase show. That's like dream match nights sort of thing, like and then the following Raw, or they can use that as part of the draft, and then the following Raw they do the draft and all of this kind of stuff. So I think a draft is 100% going to happen, and like we're saying, they need to split the titles and all of that kind of stuff, because right now Roman just has the whole thing in a headlock. The Usos have the whole thing in a headlock. So yeah, they need to create those other stars. I think they're creating other stars ready for these positions. They just need to split the titles now so that they can occupy them.
They can occupy, because again, we're in this space where there's no real contender for Roman's titles. There's no realistic, he could beat him or he's gonna beat him. It's all gone. It's literally all gone. I think for me, there's the possibility of there's still the possibility of building someone to that, but at the moment, it's not like that at all. With what we're expecting to happen with Brock and Bobby, Brock can't face Roman.
Yeah.
We're expecting Brock to win, so that won't look good for Bobby to then chase Roman. Big E
which is a shame, by the way. Like now where they've built up Bobby really intentionally over the last 18 months to 2 years. He hasn't had one match. I'm not even expecting him to win it. I just need the match. Like,
right.
Others have had one, so
and that's what. But I think that it's taken way too long. But I think they're still in this place where they're slow burning that. So if we get this whole thing of Brock beats Bobby, and then in their rubber match, their third match, Lashley wins, that's then he has to go for Roman or whoever the champion is by then after that. But that's not, that's going to take a few months to happen. So we still have to wait a while for that to happen.
But then that's the issue. Roman may not even be champion post Mania. Like, if Bobby can beat Lesnar at Mania, but then it might be someone else there. So yeah, unless they have Roman face him somewhere in between, which is what's left. I don't know if Roman's having a title match at War Games. Maybe at Royal Rumble he has a title match, but then after a Rumble he's probably not defending it again till WrestleMania. So there's very few places left for Roman and Bobby to happen for sure. Unless Roman's going to hold on to these belts out after Mania, and then Bobby can, I guess, have a chance there. But
I mean, if Roman loses that championship, I wouldn't be averse to Bobby versus The Rock.
Not gonna happen.
Imagine.
Bobby can't even face Roman. You think he's getting a Rock match? No chance. Zero.
What is the state of our tag team champion, our tag teams at the moment? So we've got the New Day and we've got the Street Profits. I'll be honest, I've kind of been out of the mix for a few weeks, so I don't even know what's happening with these two. But what's going on here?
The New Day aren't doing much of anything. Just coming out, entertaining people, having just random matches. And of course, Street Profits, Montez Ford is injured at the minute. So, they're not doing much of anything. I think the last time they were seen is when they had the Angelo Dawkins had his singles match. And there's been a lot actually since then. I think I even saw something yesterday that higher ups are very impressed with Angelo Dawkins right now. So yeah, he's doing a lot of good stuff. Then we got Hit Row. Hit Row, I think a lot of people are thinking, they're boring, this, that, and the other. But I think they are where they're meant to be. They're just meant to be like a mid-card team. You see what I mean? And obviously Legado del Fantasma have debuted and they're going after Hit Row basically, which is really it's good for Legado del Fantasma.
Indeed.
But yeah, there's not much of anything. And even the Usos as champions, they're just holding these belts right now. They're not even defending. They haven't defended them in ages, which isn't good. But yeah, they must be trying to set up what we all think is going to be the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Usos at WrestleMania. That's probably where they lose the belts. But
that would be a great moment, actually.
Oh yeah, if they go that way, it's going to be brilliant. But we've got months to fill till then, so please do something with the tag titles.
And finally, what is the state? What is the state of Bianca Belair kind of, still kind of coasting, holding this Raw Women's Championship, still got Bayley breathing down her neck. Are we seeing the makings of this War Games match coming to fruition yet? Or,
it's not so much, you would think I guess they got the Saudi show to get out the way first.
True.
But yeah, not so much just yet in terms of the women. But Bayley did again by hook or by crook, get another win over Bianca Belair last night on Raw.
Okay.
So maybe that's the match at Saudi. And to be honest, if they have the match there, then if Bayley loses again, then Damage Control just needs to move off and leave Bianca alone, because it's not happening for Bayley. But more than anything now, I'm invested in Rhea Ripley beating Bianca Belair, because Rhea Ripley and Judgment Day.
I'm
here for that one.
Yeah, I've been saying it. It's not necessarily going to happen. I mean, it's clear that, for me, it's clear Rhea is the star of that group. But I would have rather her literally be the leader.
Yeah, but you know what? Recently, they've started framing it like, oh, she's, when they start using words like she's the architect or she's the mastermind behind Judgment Day, they're kind of framing it a bit like that, at least promoting her forward. So
yeah. And in terms of Bianca and Bayley, I'm seeing, if they have this match at Crown Jewel, hopefully it will be a match that that ends up as a no contest, which would then be better to take us into War Games. And then after that, they do a singles thing again, and whoever wins, and Bayley almost hopefully wins, just to then do something different with Bianca again,
change things up,
and change things up again. But yeah, it's nice to catch up. This has been our show. You are watching on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. Of course, don't forget to like, click subscribe, all that good stuff, and share this with your people, them. You can follow me, A Dazzle on Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram, BWA Dazzle on Twitter. This guy makes the WrestleManiac on WrestleManiac UK on Twitter, WrestleManiac.uk on Instagram. One day I'm going to write all that down and just put it on the screen so I don't have to say it, because that's a lot. Guys, this has been our time. This has been WrestlXtra, and we are done.
See you guys later.